We mentioned that there are parts of the automotive industry that are the ones that we believe have the biggest need for our consumer reform that we're up to. Your reform, your power, your vote, your money. And I don't think any could be more important than the automotive dealer segment. Well, one of the things that we have committed to our community to offer is an education in that arena. One that once you really wrap your heart and brain around, that you will no longer ever again be willing to accept anything less than the core values of integrity that you're about to hear from George Green, the operations manager at Wild West Chevrolet out in Yerington. And George, thank you again for being here today.
Great to be here, Mitch.
And
thanks.
Thank you so much for taking on, this part of the educational process, because that's really what we're here to do, is educate and inform our community on these critical issues in the automotive industry. None, I believe, more important than the automotive dealer segment. The part that requires the most immediate response from our community. So I would like our listeners to really pay attention to what you're about to hear here, rally behind it, tell your friends about it, because some of your members of our community are out there right now getting less than what you're about to hear about, and it's core values of integrity that I said.
Well, you're right, Mitch. It can be really confusing buying a car today. I mean, our industry is just spewed with acronyms: ACV, OAC, APR, RPO, LPO, LEV, OA. I mean, we say all these things out there and people don't understand. What we attempt to do is slow that process down just a little bit, and it's working. We talk about the golden rule, how you want to treat others as you want to be treated. But, we found out that that's not the case. We approach our position down in Yerington as we go by the platinum rule. And that's basically where it is. We want to treat you the way you want to be treated. Bottom line, that's the way if you want to do it fast, we'll do it fast. If you want a price in 60 seconds, we'll give you a price in 60 seconds. If you want to bring a trade in, we'll give you an appraisal over the phone. Obviously, we're going to there's some integrity issues there, but we stand behind what we say. Bottom line is that we do want to treat you the way you want to be treated.
Well, and that's raising the bar. I mean, that's saying that the standard of treat you the way I want to be treated just isn't good enough anymore. You want to set the new bar that others look at and say, how did they get there? How did they do that? And that's really, it gets into your commitment of making the car buying experience enjoyable.
Well, we feel a value-added experience is a must. I mean, you're spending a lot of money, and we want to make sure that you're going to get your money's worth. So, the Chevrolet product lineup, I personally believe it deserves MSRP. They have the best warranty in this industry, leading warranty, 5-year, 100,000, 3 years, 36. They also have roadside assistance for the whole term of that 5-year, 100,000 miles. So, I mean, I really feel that the vehicle deserves MSRP, but we found a different strategy would apply at our location. I mean, it's not the closest. It's probably it took. I live in Reno, so I commute there every day. So it's about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes.
You wanted to make it worth the drive there.
Yeah, and it is worth the drive. I mean, we want people to know there's a choice when they buy an automobile. There's a choice of dealing with people that have integrity. You hear these words a lot in the businesses that you endorse, Mitch, and the bottom line is the Lindbergh family, they're all about integrity. They stand behind their word, they stand behind their product, they stand behind their services that they offer, and everything that we do down there is value added. So, I was in Vegas last weekend, and you want to talk about a hustle and bustle. My 2 kids live down there and their families, and I went down for a birthday party, and we it was just amazing to me because they're younger people. I mean, they're in their 20s. But, I mean, we had 2 soccer games, a Greek festival, a birthday party, a movie. We did shopping. And, all the time they're texting and emailing and doing all these things with their iPhones. So it's just crazy to me how fast these kids go. But, at the end of the day, we sat down and we had a beautiful Sunday dinner, just the kids, just the family. We caught back up on those values that we all find so important. When you think of simpler times, you think of, hey, make sure you're home by the street lights, you want to we were just looking to slow the thing down. Well, in Yerington, we have that. We slow things down a little bit. The process is is actually really exciting. And when you leave there, when you're a new vehicle, you're going to know how the Bluetooth hooks up to your phone. You're going to know how to, pair your phone with the vehicle. You're going to know how the radio set the dial. So there's so many things that we do down there that just is value added, Mitch.
Well, and you were starting to go on about the MSRP, which I want to share with the acronym for people that hear the term MSRP. And like you said, there's a lot of acronyms in the automotive industry, but the MSRP is the manufacturer suggested retail price of a vehicle.
That's correct.
And, there were federal laws decades ago that required that to be on there because of the industry's propensity for, taking people when it comes to the price of a car. And even with that, it still fascinates me how many dealers will go above that. Well,
yeah, what they'll do is they'll put those addendum stickers or additional dealer markup stickers. We don't do that. I mean, I think it does make a difference in what you pay. You hear, I'm going to save you $10,000 off a car. Well, I wish I had that kind of profit margin in a vehicle, but I don't. I mean, realistically, we're running our margins between actually the new Sonic, I want to say it's like 3%, and you go up to a crew cab dually and it might be 6% markup in the vehicle.
So the way that you create this imitation of a huge discount is to bump it up to begin with.
Yeah, they use a bump sticker. I mean, it's actually additional dealer profit is what I call it.
Well, and you just said that it ultimately, typically, and I'd say the highest percentage of the time still ends up in you paid more because you started higher, you ended higher.
Yes.
And that's the reason for that tact is over decades, it's proven for those businesses that employ those practices to be a successful increase in their bottom line.
But see, that's the part I don't understand about a consumer who walks on a lot and gets their intelligence insulted right off the bat. To me, that just doesn't make sense. I want our people to start off on the right step, which is going to be a smile on their face and their shoulders back, and they'll probably do things a little bit faster for you.
Well, and here's what I'm finding very interesting about that process is you even mentioned that the car is built and worth that value, but you have a completely different pricing strategy, and you have had that both before and now after General Motors ran a campaign for a national program. So let's talk about your pricing strategy that they don't walk on the lot and ever get asked to pay MSRP or manufacturer suggested retail price ever.
That's correct. We sell at preferred pricing, which is actually what a GM employee could buy it for, or a vendor of General Motors. It makes it easier. It makes it simpler. I mean, on my website, wildwestchevrolet.com, everything's priced. So there's no confusion. We take price out of the equation. Like I said, I think they deserve sticker plus, but we sell it at a preferred pricing, which just takes all the hassle out of it. Most of our deals, Mitch, are done on handshakes. People call us from all over and say, is that really the price? Yes. You just saved me $7,000. Ha, ha, ha.
Well, we had that conversation. One of our listeners drove from Reno out there, and I think we calculated it was like over $70 a mile.
Yeah, it was.
Both ways.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good return on investment to take a trip out to Yerington to buy a car.
It's a short drive, Mitch.
But, George, it's not even just the money. I mean, the money, the savings, it's there. I mean, I challenge anybody that's out buying a Chevrolet this weekend to stop in their tracks, call and get a price and compare.
Yeah.
Apples for apples. I'm certain that they're gonna save money, but it's the hassle factor that's taken out of the equation. I want our community to get this. That I don't care if you heard this radio show or if you just walked onto the lot at Wild West Chevrolet out in Yerington. You will never pay anything more than this preferred pricing. And as George said, it's a factory employee. That's what it was intended for on the invoice of a vehicle. They'll show it to you.
Sure.
I mean, there's nothing hidden. You get all the rebates and finance incentives and anything else that apply to the vehicle are still available to you.
Correct.
At that price. And isn't that price at or below or near the dealer's invoice on a vehicle?
It is. Characteristically, it's probably anywhere from $200 to $400 over invoice. on an average.
So you're not trying to get rich selling somebody a car. But here's what I think is interesting. In the long run, that practice will be rewarded so heavily with what I consider repeat and referral business and word of mouth that I don't think that this whole practice of trying to start higher, end higher, is ever going to be effective, especially if our community rallies behind what we're asking them to do. Take this on. Tell your friends. They no longer have to take it. They don't have to go out of state to do this. They don't have to go to Idaho to do it. They can just take a short drive and support a local dealership, which is part of our community and is still supporting our state and our infrastructure. And you're very heavily participants in our community as well.
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of it. The Lindbergh family has been involved with the community down there for over 20 years. So everything they're doing down there it's about the kids right now. So in the schools, it's awesome.
Well, and you know what I love about Wild West Chevrolet? So you make it easy to buy a car. There's no hassle. There's no getting attacked when you get out of your car on the lot. There's no 4 hours in a negotiation back and forth, wondering if you going home thinking with buyer's remorse, did I get a good deal or did I didn't? But you have a fun factor at Wild West Chevrolet.
Of course
you guys
we do.
then spend your time creating fun for your community.
We do. Currently, what are we doing? Oh, we have a Dirty Chevy contest going on right now.
For all you mud boggers, hold on to your seats. This is a real contest.
Yeah, we're having fun with it. Just take a picture of your Dirty Chevy and download it onto our Facebook, and all the folks on Facebooks will, excuse me.
No problem.
We'll be able to vote on which is the dirtiest Chevy. We have a big gift bag for whoever wins, and obviously whoever wins this thing, we're going to give them a complete detail.
Well, that's it. So, they get the pride of having the dirtiest, then the cleanest vehicle.
There you go.
I love it. What a great time. It's just that's who you are as a core business.
We are.
Caring, hospitable. I mean, this is hospitality, old school, the old days.
It is.
But even better.
It is. And what we found is that, just taking all that stress out of it, we can give you upfront pricing. It's hassle-free. Most of our deals, Mitch, like I said, ever since I've been coming on the show, that most of our transactions are done with a handshake. It's crazy, but it works.
Well, the old days even better, because I can tell you, I don't know in the old days anybody ever did what you're doing now, employee pricing to the public every day of the week, all week long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But that just shows your level of respect in one area. And I think we have a couple minutes, so I want to get into the area of respect when it comes to respecting of a consumer's credit in the financing process. This one, I think a lot of our listeners are going to hear and they're going to go, yeah, that happened to me. Well, it never has to happen again. Let's talk about, protecting people's credit history while you're shopping for a loan for them.
Well, when you hear a statement said that, hey, we accept all credit applications. Well, of course you do. Doesn't mean they're all approved. But what we find out is that when we could sit down with a consumer that wants to buy a car and they have some issues, we'll sit down with them. We'll guide them through the process. We don't shotgun. And you might want to tell your consumers or your listeners about shotgunning.
Well, this is basically, George, and I spent a good part of my career, what is called hanging paper, selling loans to lenders. And this is a technique where if you're a dealership and you put out, $1 million worth of cars over the weekend, you need to get that money right back into your bank account to buy next week's cars with. And so there's a big rush to cash those contracts with the banks, and you have to send them to the banks, get them approved, and then endorse them to them and get paid. Well, that process is sped up in a lot of cases by a technique called shotgunning, where you just spray an Uzi at the number of businesses you let look at this consumer's credit, and that is damaging.
It is, and it affects people's credit rating.
They look like attempts to acquire new debt.
Right, and believe me, banks look at that. They say, well, God, you had 47 inquiries. So we don't do that. We'll sit down with the consumer, we'll make a legitimate decision about the best place to place the paper, and that's where we go.
And it's not shotgun, it's we pick it, and that's where we're going to go. George Green, Wild West Chevrolet, how do they get a hold of you?
WildWestChevrolet.com and 775-463-3456.
A short drive to Yerington. Thanks for being here with us today.